Where do human beings come from? It sounds like a simple question. It is not, because the answer depends entirely on how far back you're willing to look and how far forward you dare to go. Today we're going all the way, from a garden in the ancient Middle East back to a single point smaller than an atom, forward to the death of every star in the universe and to the possibility that the whole thing, all of this, is happening inside a black hole. Buckle up. This is the full story of where we come from. For most of human history, the answer to where we come from had nothing to do with science. It had to do with gods. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, the book of Genesis tells of a single creator who shaped the first humans from dust and breathed life into them in a garden called Eden. That story dominated the Western world for over 2,000 years, but it was never the only one. The ancient Greeks believed humans were created by Prometheus, who shaped us from clay and water, then stole fire from the gods to give us life. The ancient Egyptians had a different version, the god Khnum, a potter with a divine wheel, molding every person from clay. Norse mythology says the first humans, Ask and Embla, were carved from two trees by the gods Odin, Vili, and Ve. In Chinese myth, the goddess Nuwa shaped people from yellow earth by hand. Nearly every culture on Earth has a creation story, and nearly all of them share one thing in common: a creator, a divine hand reaching down and making us. For millennia, that was enough. It explained everything: where we came from, why we're here, what we're made of. And then, a century ago, science handed us a stranger answer, one that didn't need a creator at all. At least, not in the way anyone had imagined. Here's the modern origin story. About 13.8 billion years ago, all of space, all of time, all of energy, and all of matter, everything, was squeezed into a single point. Infinitely hot, infinitely dense, smaller than an atom. Physicists call it the singularity. And then something happened. It expanded, rapidly, unbelievably rapidly. We call it the Big Bang, but that name is a little misleading. There was no explosion in the way you'd think of an explosion. An explosion happens in space. It throws things outward into a pre-existing void. The Big Bang wasn't like that. It was an explosion of space itself. Space itself stretched and grew, carrying everything with it. There was no center, no edge, no before. Time itself began in that moment. In the very first fractions of a second, the universe was a storm of pure energy, far hotter than anything we can imagine. As it expanded, it cooled. And here's where it gets incredible. When that energy cooled enough, it began to condense into matter. The first particles, quarks, electrons, formed. Those quarks joined together into protons and neutrons, and the first elements were born. Hydrogen, helium, a tiny bit of lithium. At this point, the universe was a hot, glowing fog of gas. There were no stars, no planets, no galaxies, just an endless sea of the simplest atoms drifting through an ever-expanding darkness. But gravity doesn't rest. Over millions of years, the denser pockets of that gas began to collapse under their own weight. As they collapsed, they heated up, and when they got hot enough and dense enough, nuclear fusion ignited. Stars were born. The universe flickered to life for the first time. And this is the part that should genuinely blow your mind. Inside those first stars, something miraculous happened. The nuclear furnaces at their cores were so hot and so pressurized that they began forging heavier elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, gold. Every element on the periodic table, heavier than hydrogen and helium, was cooked inside a star. So when you look at the calcium in your bones, that was forged in a star. The iron in your blood, star forged. The oxygen you're breathing right now, it was manufactured in the heart of a massive star billions of years ago and released into space when that star died. You are, quite literally, made of the ashes of dead stars. When those first stars reached the end of their lives, They exploded, supernovae, scattering their treasure across the cosmos. Clouds of stardust drifted through space, rich with heavy elements. And gravity, patient as always, began gathering that dust together again. Swirling, clumping, accreting, forming new stars, and around them, swirling disks of debris. From that debris, planets formed. One of those planets was ours, Earth. And here's where the story gets almost absurdly lucky. Earth formed at just the right distance from its star, close enough for liquid water, far enough that it didn't boil away. It had the right ingredients: a rocky surface, an atmosphere, water delivered by icy comets. And it had a moon, a massive one, formed by a catastrophic collision which stabilized our planet's tilt and kept our climate stable for billions of years. For a long time, Earth was nothing but a violent, molten, hostile world. But eventually, in the oceans, chemistry began to organize itself. Molecules formed, then more complex molecules, then structures that could copy themselves. Self-replication, the first spark of life. From those humble beginnings, life evolved. Single cells, then multicellular life, then complex organisms, then, in the blink of a cosmic eye, mammals, and eventually a species that could look up at the stars and ask where it came from. Us. So the answer to our question, according to modern science, is this. You are made of stardust, 13.8 billion years in the making. The atoms in your body have been on an epic journey from the heart of a star, through a supernova, across the void of space, into a planet, into life, and finally into you. That's the story so far. But where is the story going? That's the part most people never hear. Because the universe is not done. It's still expanding. Every galaxy is racing away from every other galaxy. But for a long time, cosmologists debated how that expansion would end. And one of the most famous possible endings is called the Big Crunch. Here's the idea. Gravity is always pulling things together. The universe is expanding now, but what if, someday, gravity wins? What if the expansion slows down, stops, and then reverses? The universe would begin to contract. Galaxies would stop receding and start falling toward each other. They'd merge and merge again. The universe would get hotter and denser, collapsing inward, faster and faster. And finally, everything, every star, every planet, every atom that ever existed, all of it, crushed back into a single, infinitely dense point. The universe would end exactly the way it began. A cosmic inhale after a long, long exhale. The Big Crunch is a haunting idea. The universe as a great cosmic breath, expanding and contracting forever, over and over again. In that version, everything that's ever happened will happen again in the next cycle. Even you. But, and here's the twist, modern measurements suggest the Big Crunch probably isn't going to happen. In the late 1990s, astronomers made a discovery that shocked the world. They expected the universe's expansion to be slowing down, gravity pulling everything back. Instead, they found the opposite. The expansion is accelerating. It's speeding up. Something is pushing the galaxies apart, overcoming gravity. We don't know what it is. We call it dark energy, and it makes up roughly 70% of the universe, but we have almost no idea what it actually is. If the expansion keeps accelerating, the Big Crunch is off the table. Instead, the likely fate is something called the Big Freeze, or the heat death of the universe. Over trillions of years, the galaxies will drift further and further apart. Stars will burn out. New stars will stop forming. Black holes will swallow what's left, and even black holes will eventually evaporate. The universe will become cold, dark, and empty, a thin, featureless soup of particles drifting forever in the dark. No light, no life, no change, forever. That's a bleak ending. But here's the thing about the future. It's not set in stone. because physics has one more wild card to play. One of the strangest ideas in modern physics is this: what if our entire universe, everything we can see, all of it, is actually inside a black hole? Here's how it could work. A black hole forms when a huge amount of matter is crushed into an incredibly small space, so dense that its gravity becomes strong enough to trap even light. Nothing that crosses the event horizon, the black hole's point of no return, can ever escape. Time and space themselves get warped beyond recognition. Now, here's the mind-bender. When physicists work through the mathematics of what happens inside a black hole, some of the equations look shockingly similar to the mathematics of our own expanding universe. Some cosmologists have suggested that what we call the Big Bang might have been the inside of a black hole forming in some other universe, that our universe, with its expanding space, its cosmic microwave background, everything, could be the interior of a black hole in a larger cosmos. And if that's true, then every black hole in our universe might be a doorway to an entirely new universe of its own. An infinite nesting of universes, each one inside a black hole, inside another universe. Which leads to a truly dizzying thought. Somewhere out there, beyond our universe, if beyond even means anything, there might be another black hole that spawns another universe. And in that universe, there might be another Earth, another you, living out another version of this exact story, wondering the exact same thing you're wondering right now. And if that makes your head spin, hang on, because physics and philosophy have one more twist for us. What if none of this, not the universe, not the black holes, not even you, is real at all? What if we're living inside a computer simulation? It sounds like science fiction, but it's a serious hypothesis, and one of its most famous versions comes from a philosopher named Nick Bostrom. His argument goes like this: if any advanced civilization ever develops the technology to run simulations of entire universes, simulations so detailed that the beings inside them are conscious, then here's the problem. Those civilizations could run billions of them. And if simulations outnumber real universes, even by just one, then statistically, we are almost certainly in one. The odds that we're the original, the real reality, become astronomically small. There could be 1 trillion simulated versions of you for every one real you. And here's what makes the idea so hard to dismiss. Our universe kind of looks like a simulation. The laws of physics are finely tuned. Dial any one of them even slightly, and life could never exist. It's as if someone set the universe's parameters perfectly on purpose. Quantum mechanics is bizarre. Particles seem to decide their properties only when they're observed, as if the universe is only rendering what it needs to. And physicists have found a limit to how small anything can be, a Planck length, below which space and time break down. Think about that. A universe with a minimum size, a resolution limit, just like a digital image, just like a computer screen. Maybe our universe is running on a grid we can't see. Some physicists have even suggested that the cosmic microwave background, the faint glow left over from the Big Bang, could be a kind of error correction code, like the data that keeps a computer's memory from corrupting. Now, to be clear, the simulation hypothesis is just that, a hypothesis. There's no proof, but it forces you to confront a dizzying question. If we are in a simulation, then who or what is running it? Is that the God our ancestors imagined, or just a bored teenager in a higher universe playing with a cosmic sandbox? And if we're a simulation inside a simulation, all the way down, then somewhere, at the bottom of the stack, is there a real universe? Or is it simulations all the way down? So where do humans come from? A divine creator reaching down from heaven. A single point that exploded into everything. Stardust, forged in the heart of a dying star, gathered into a planet, sparked into life. Or the interior of a black hole, nested inside a universe, nested inside another black hole. Or even a line of code in a simulation running on a machine we'll never see. Maybe the honest answer is that we come from everywhere, from the hands of gods and the hearts of stars, from the beginning of time and from the far side of eternity. And here's the thing that makes us human, the mystery. The fact that we're the only species we know of that looks at the night sky and asks these questions at all. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Are we alone? The questions matter more than the answers because they're what make us us. If this one blew your mind, there's a lot more where that came from. Subscribe and let's keep exploring the dark, twisty, wonderful corners of the universe together. I'll see you in the next one.